the Pinyakov related. After his wedding, so the Rebbe sent Rapinya to Montreal to be mashgiach in yeshiva. So one of the years, maybe nothing was his first child, but one of his children, he had a child, and the child was born towards the end of Elul, and the bris was to take place at Rosh Hashanah. Of course, that year I stayed in Montreal, and I didn't go Rosh Hashanah, maybe Tishrei, to the Rebbe as I normally would. So I'm thinking, he says, who to give Sandakois. So I thought that I should give Sandakois to the mashpia of the Montreal Chabad community, the much beloved and respected mashpia, Peretz Mochkin. That's the father of Rabbi Mochkin. Some of you may remember him. So I approached him, Peretz. There are tapes of his Farbrengens and Nigunim. They're beautiful to listen. It's interesting. It dovetails with the Maimer. Peretz Rab Nissen, that generation, they were iconic Chassidim. Rab Nissen used to come to Montreal. Rab Nissen Lemanov, to raise money for Tinchet Mimim, for Yeshiva and Brunois, and would stay by the Denbergs, his nephew. Bertel Gansberg has stories. At any rate, they were very contrasting Chassidim. If we speak here now, Reb Nissen was Kabbalah's Earl, and Reb Peretz was his pashtus. Reb Peretz was rich and expansive and broad and engaging. Just the way they spoke, their whole demeanor, and certainly the Farbrengens, you couldn't get a greater contrast. And what we're talking about now, the Kabbalah's El Chassid, the first Eved and the second Eved, the Gishmak, and so on. Nonetheless, listen to the story. And if you hear his Farbrengens, you can hear it. There's a tape of him singing Nigunim and teaching Nigunim. So the Pinya approaches Reb Peretz, and Reb Peretz is declining to accept the honor. So the Pinya says, Reb Peretz. So the Peretz says to him like this. Mele says, when someone who doesn't know true Chassidim and he gives me this covered, so I don't embarrass him, and I'll accept it. But you know me, he says. And I'm a Pashatidit. I'm a simple Jew. So where does it come to me? Sandakois. So why are you asking me? Can you imagine? So this is the fusion. So when he heard that, obviously his opinion said, if anything, that's a reason to ask you. But what the end was, came Rosh Hashanah, because like this year it fell on Shabbos, so the bris was a little bit far from the shul in order to avoid the problem of carrying. And Peretz used to daven barichas, and especially Rosh Hashanah, and therefore till he finished his davening, he didn't have time anyway to get to the bris. That was considerable distance. And then was that I just couldn't even give him the Sandakois, and I gave it to somebody else. And it concludes, Vashem Yisbarach L'tzon Yerev Yas Hashem fulfills the will of those who fear him. Reb Peretz didn't want it and didn't get it. It seems from the story also, because the Pinya was insisting that Peretz was not going to make him uncomfortable, so he kind of reluctantly agreed. But in the end, it didn't turn out because he didn't make it. So what he wanted was what actually is what happened. So to quote the Pinya at the end, he says that like all of us were very moved by the story. He says, I never heard of a chassid or anybody that refused Sandakois. It's a very great honor. It's many segulas, Gashmi, Varuchni, as well as is well known. But for a Peretz, a simple Jew, giving it to me, I'm not worthy of this. So that's kind of an example of the fusion of Eved, the two Avodim. He was rich. He was the second Eved, but he was also an Eved, a simple Eved Poshet, a Poshet Yid in his words. Have a wonderful day, friends, and Be'ez Hashem, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm not sure